the forgotten clay soil trick that softens hard ground without digging. Welcome back to Gentle Herb Gardening. If you're new here, before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss our weekly garden secrets. Now, let's talk about something that frustrates every gardener at some point: clay soil. You know it well. Sticky when wet, hard as concrete when dry. You dig into it once, and your shovel bounces back like you've hit a brick road. Plants struggle, roots suffocate, and no matter how much compost you throw in, it still feels lifeless. But what if I told you there's a forgotten aeration trick, one that requires no digging, no machines, and no back-breaking labor? Yet it can transform your heavy clay into soft, living soil in just weeks. Let's uncover it. Understanding the enemy. What makes clay soil so tough? Clay soil isn't all bad. In fact, it's packed with minerals, often more nutrient-rich than sandy or loamy soils. The real problem lies in its structure. Clay particles are incredibly small and sticky. When water hits them, they compact tightly, squeezing out air and forming an oxygen-starved layer that plant roots can't breathe through. Without oxygen, beneficial microbes die off. Roots suffocate, water puddles on the surface instead of soaking in. Most gardeners try to fix this by digging, tilling, or adding sand, but here's the truth. Tilling only makes things worse over time. When clay is disturbed, it compacts even tighter once it dries. And adding sand, that's like making concrete. So what's the gentle way? The one the old farmers used, the natural aeration method that lets biology do the hard work for you. Step 1. Feed the subsoil, not just the surface. The key to reviving compacted clay isn't brute force, it's biology. You need to feed the underground workers, microbes, fungi, and worms. Here's how. Mix a bucket of compost, a handful of molasses or brown sugar, and a few tablespoons of EM, or effective microorganisms, or liquid compost tea into 10 liters of water. Pour this mixture directly over your clay beds once a week. Why this works is actually pretty fascinating. The sugar feeds beneficial bacteria, which in turn begin digesting the compacted clay particles, releasing trapped minerals, and slowly breaking them apart. It's a bit like adding millions of tiny miners to your soil, each one loosening and tunneling air pockets below the surface. So, you're not digging your soil open, you're letting nature do it from within. Step 2. Plant living aerators. This step is where, honestly, the magic really happens. Instead of mechanical aeration, we use root power. Some plants have strong, penetrating roots that can slice through clay naturally, leaving behind air channels and microtunnels. Here are the best natural aerators you can plant right now. Daikon radish, with roots that drill through hard layers. Comfrey, which mines nutrients deep below and brings them up. Lupins, that fix nitrogen while loosening the ground. Borage, which builds organic matter fast. And of course, sunflowers, with deep taproots that crack clay. Once these roots grow and decompose, they leave behind hollow tunnels. Air moves freely, water seeps deeper, and microbes spread into untouched layers. Within one season, your once concrete soil starts feeling spongy, dark, and alive. This is called biological tilling, the most natural form of aeration known to gardeners. Alright, so step 3 is to mulch like a forest floor. If you've ever walked through a forest, you'll notice something. The ground is always soft, no one tills it, yet it's springy and rich. Why is that? Well, it's all down to continuous mulch. Mulching protects your clay soil from baking in the sun and cracking, but more importantly, it actually feeds the soil life that's rebuilding structure below. Here's how to do it right. First, lay down a thin layer of compost or manure tea. This activates microbial growth. Next, add a 3 to 4 inch blanket of organic mulch, like chopped leaves, straw, shredded bark, or grass clippings. Finally, water it well and just leave it undisturbed. As worms pull this material downward, they mix it gently with the clay particles, turning solid earth into a fluffy blend rich in humus. And over time, the clay becomes granular, full of pores that let air and water move freely. That's true soil transformation, and honestly, no shovel needed. Now, step 4 is to add calcium, the clay unlocker. There's one mineral that makes this process faster: calcium. Clay particles are negatively charged, which makes them stick together like glue. Calcium, however, neutralizes that charge, breaking up clumps and improving structure. You can supply calcium naturally using gypsum, which is calcium sulfate and breaks up clay without altering pH, or crushed eggshells, which offer a slow but steady release of calcium carbonate. Wood ash also adds calcium and potassium, but you'll want to use that sparingly. Step 5 is to keep the surface alive. Once your soil begins to soften, don't let it go bare, Always keep something growing. Roots are the living pumps of soil life. They bring oxygen, carbon, and sugar underground. Even in the off-season, plant cover crops like clover, rye, vetch, or buckwheat. Their roots feed the microbial network, keeping your soil structure alive all year round. Now, here's the forgotten part. The method that ancient growers used when they had no tools or machines. They soaked clay beds with compost extracts and fermented plant liquids, then planted deep-rooting pioneer crops like radish and vetch to aerate naturally. They never dug, they never broke the crust, they just let roots, microbes, and mulch handle the transformation. These days, modern gardeners call it bioaeration, but really, it's just about learning to trust nature's design again. Within 30 days of applying this method, you'll notice water starts soaking in instead of pooling, earthworms return in massive numbers, mulch begins vanishing as microbes consume it, and plants develop longer, whiter roots and richer color. Your compacted clay turns into dark, aerated loam, a living sponge that breathes, holds water, and feeds your plants naturally. And you didn't dig a single inch. Clay soil isn't a curse, it's a sleeping giant. Beneath that tough shell lies a treasure trove of minerals just waiting to be unlocked. All it needs is biology, patience, and a bit of understanding. So, instead of fighting your soil, start working with it. Feed the microbes, protect it with mulch, and let nature's aeration system do the heavy lifting. Soon enough, you'll see what true soil transformation looks like. Soft, living earth that smells rich, grows strong, and thanks you with every harvest. And remember, the best gardeners aren't those who fight nature. They're the ones who learn to listen to her,